Hello, I am Sophie welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the first day of the Winter Writers Retreat. It's officially begun. It is December 1st when you are seeing this, or when I post it. You can see it whenever you want, I guess. If you're new here and you have not heard about the Writers Retreat yet, I am hosting a little 2-month-long writing event sort of thing. You pick whatever you want to be your goal for the Writers Retreat. It's going to take place over December 1st to January 31st, so it's 2 months, and we're really just hanging out, supporting each other, sharing what's happening, we're just having fun with it. So there is streams on my channel. I'll be posting on my other social medias besides YouTube, which is really just Instagram, and also there is a Discord channel for the retreat where most of the activity is being focused. So if you want to join, there's a link in the description for you to do so. As a sort of welcome to this event, I thought I would do a little bit of a project introduction before we really jump into everything that's about to happen in the next 2 months. And I also thought it would be a fun idea to sort of introduce all of them with a little mood board for each project, so you can have a little bit of a visual idea as well. So, let us begin. I have 3 projects I will be working on. It's technically 2, because there's 2 separate worlds that we're working in, but the second one is 2 books, so 2 projects kind of. But the first one is Project Glass. This is a sort of horror drama story. I'm really not sure about the genre, I'm gonna be honest. Lots of sister dynamics. The main characters are 2 sisters, and small town vibes. Also altered humans, turning humans into monsters. Yeah, that's the fun part. And as I rewrite this draft, I actually am starting to consider it as more of an anti-horror story, where the town that it takes place in is being completely consumed by the virus, by this thing that is turning humans into these unrecognizable creatures. It's doomed from the beginning of the story, and yet everyone that is left in this town is trying their best to convince themselves that nothing has changed. Everything is going to be fine. But as of the start of the retreat today, I am still writing the story. I'm about a quarter or a third of the way through, not entirely sure. And technically, I did want this draft done by the end of November, but in all honesty, I'm having so much fun drafting it that I'm not even mad about it. But next is The Queen, the #1 story on this channel, Project What. For the folks that don't know, I'm sure many of you do, and I'm sorry you are going to hear this again, but Project What is set on a planet Earth that has been ravaged by nuclear war. It is basically inhabitable, and the survivors of this war, or the descendants of the survivors of this war, live on a man-made island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that, in theory, shelters them away from the worst of the fallout. And that's not all. That is, of course not. The real kicker of the story is the fact that when the island was first built and inhabited, there was a religious group, we're not going to call them a cult yet, maybe they're a cult, that sort of coexisted with the island, and for some reason, 50 years before present day that the book takes place in, this group completely disappeared. They were gone. For 50 years, no one heard a thing about them. And suddenly, in present day, they are back. And they are back with a bang. a real bang. And the book is trying to figure out what happened to these guys, why they were gone for 50 years, why they're back now, why they're doing what they're doing, and how they're connected with some other, political shuffling that's been happening on the island as well. Again, sorry if you've heard that already. You're going to probably hear it 5,000 more times every time I introduce a story. I love it. I love trying to explain it. It comes out different every time. I barely know what this book's about. But I probably spent the most time on this mood board. Not probably, I definitely spent the most time on this mood board out of all 3, because I know the most about this story. This is the one that's the most developed. This is the one that is the most concrete of all of them. And this mood board specifically really showcases the chaos that starts to develop in Act 2. A lot of Act 1 is the main characters trying to convince themselves that the world around them isn't falling apart, that maybe because of where they are now, that things are gonna get better, and Act 2 turns that right on its head. It couldn't get any worse, and things just start to unravel. It's great. Finally, we have our third project, and frankly the one that I want to get done the most, but to get it done I need to finish the other two first, so yeah, don't hit me up. This is Project Moss, the sequel to Project What. This is why I said it's like 2/3 projects, because 2 are in the same universe. Yeah, this is the sequel. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of this project is up in the air. Don't actually know what's going to happen concretely, but for right now, the religious group from book 1 has suddenly disappeared again. They can't track them down. Uh-oh, that's not good. Also, we're learning about all the awesome, deadly, radioactive plants that have taken over the planet because there is no one there to chop them down and keep them in check. And also, 2 new POVs have joined the roster and are really thickening the plot. It's a real hoot to write. At least it was in the draft I've already written. But that is just really the only stuff I know for sure that's gonna happen. I also know that this story is going to focus a lot on the history of the planet and the nuclear war that got them where they are, and also the consequences of that. And also, just trying to clean up everything that happened in book 1, naturally. And that's pretty much, all that I know for sure. So this mood board focuses on those sort of aspects, the things that I know will stay, and most of that is the story of the main character of the book. Like I said, there's more than one POV, but this character's point of view is the one that we see the most, so he's the main character, and really just the arc that he goes through throughout the story. And Project Moss is all about seeing how these 5 total POVs sort of interact with one another. In some way or another, they kind of all end up meeting or knowing of everyone else, and the book is really just a mix of how each of these characters' actions from the first book have shaped their relationships with one another, or what they know about one another, and how each of them are trying to use those connections to their own advantage. I love it. I love it so much. The first time I wrote it, it was so fun. Hoping it will be the same this time. Anyways, that is a somewhat quick introduction and update on the projects I will be tackling during this retreat. I love making videos like this because it's like a little time capsule into what I was thinking about the books at the time and what I thought the books would be about. Like, if you go back to videos where I've talked about my projects and my ideas before, this explanation is probably way different than the ones that I gave in those videos because, the story evolves. That's what happens. It is what it is. And, it'll probably happen again. Maybe one day I'll look back at this video and realize that I was completely wrong here too. But for right now, that is what I'm working on. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already joined, you should totally join the retreat. It's going to be so much fun. And if you have, good luck. Happy first day. Kill it. I'm so excited. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.